destroyed, Skywalker. I am the power of the dark side.
Good.
It has seen the end of Kenobi.
Search your feelings, Lord Vader.
No, the Force is within. You are alive.
If it's your first time watching how to fix like this on my channel, I suggest you to watch my version of The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones first, or you'll be lost. In the opening scene, it was a giant space battle between the Republic and Separatists over Alderaan. They're using Alderaan as an introduction to invade the Middle Rim, since they took most of the Outer Rim already. To put it in a nutshell, Chancellor Palpatine was kidnapped during his visit on Alderaan, and that's when the invasion began. The Separatist demands in Palpatine's release would be the Republic announcing an unconditional surrender, giving up rights to trade routes to the Middle Rim and core worlds, alongside with a bunch of absurd, irrational demands. So why didn't they just kill Palpatine? Because the Republic worships Palpatine like he's royalty. And if Palpatine's dead, the Jedi are automatically placed in charge of the Republic, making matters worse for the Separatists. So with Palpatine captured, all executive decisions are hindered. The Republic's plan was to rescue the Chancellor, capture the two CIS military leaders, Darth Maul and Grievous, and retake Alderaan that was recently established as a new frontier of the Separatists. The Separatists have two main control systems that controls the army. One is for invasion and the other is for defending planets within their system. The main Separatist control flagship held Palpatine hostage above Alderaan. This was the main ship that controls all sovereign invasive Separatist droid control ships. The flagship was too big to enter hyperspace due to incoming Republic blockade. Anakin and Obi-Wan were sent on this mission to rescue Palpatine. Maul is the Secretary General of the CIS military, and Grievous is the second in command. Catching him and Grievous would cripple the Separatist military. Asajj Ventress was there as well, but she was just Maul's bodyguard and apprentice. She's just a consulting general at best without any supreme control power. Once the two landed, they split up to find Palpatine. On the ship, the Separatists hired Mandalorian mercenaries to aid them in kidnapping of Palpatine. Boba Fett was the head of this crew. Obi-Wan was approached by two Mandalorians and he was able to use the Force to put one to sleep, but the female Mandalorian, who was highly skilled in combat training, was able to dodge his Force attacks. After the two fought in hand-to-hand combat, Obi-Wan was able to defeat her after he delivered a blow at her head and knocked her helmet off. Turns out this female Mandalorian was Padme. She didn't recognize Obi-Wan because amnesia, of course. Obi-Wan used the Force to heal her amnesia and restored her memories, and he saw what happened to her. During the Battle of Geonosis in the last episode, Padme's prison ship was shot down by some Republic fighters. The ship's control short-circuited, destroyed the droid pilots, and unlocked all prison holdings. Padme piloted the ship close to Mandalore and crash-landed. The crash knocked her out. She was rescued and adopted by a band of Mandalorians. Boba Fett recognized her as the Queen of Naboo, but saw her potential during the invasion of Naboo, thus let her join as well, since he was no longer part of the Separatists. After her training, she was later part of the tribe. Later, this crew was hired to aid the kidnapping of the Chancellor by the Separatists. So Obi-Wan conjured up a plan to make the Mandalorians change sides after realizing they were just unloyal mercenaries and they don't care about politics. He convinced the other Mandalorian on doubling their payments if they switched sides. On the deck of the ship, Anakin reached the Chancellor first. He was approached by Maul and Ventress. Anakin gave Maul a chance to surrender before dueling. Maul told Anakin to join the dark side as he felt Anakin agrees with his ideals and politics. Without warning, the two Sith started attacking Anakin. Anakin knocked Ventress out of the battle easily. Maul also told him if he hadn't damaged Anakin physically with pain, Anakin wouldn't have any growing pains, and would never have grown up. Maul knew how Anakin felt. Every day it felt like there were vermin crawling in and out of his skin, because of the Force damage. The hate in Anakin have the potential of even rivaling Jedi Masters. Maul asked Anakin to be his apprentice so he can unleash the potential within him. Anakin refused all the temptation of power, and he wants to bring Maul to justice for the destruction he had brought to the galaxy. The duel continued on against Maul, where Maul was a powerful adversary, but Anakin had grown stronger throughout the Clone Wars. After slicing off Maul's hands, Maul was at Anakin's mercy. Anakin told Maul he agreed with every word Maul said. The Republic is far too corrupt for salvation, and should be restarted with a new system. The ideals that Maul presented are the future, but unfortunately, Darth Maul killed Qui-Gon. Anakin would love to kill Maul, but Qui-Gon would have never approved. Maul stated that he doesn't care about his own life, he only cares for the dark side. As long as the dark side prevails, he is willing to sacrifice his own life. Maul started begging Anakin to join the dark side and kill him, take his place by his master's side, and bring balance to the Force. As explained in the last episode, Anakin has a multiple personality disorder. This was caused when Anakin refused to accept his darker side and suppressed it through the Force during his training when becoming a Jedi Knight. The accumulated negative emotions that he was unable to let go and the strong feelings of rejecting his darker side had created a new personality called Avis. Anakin is completely confused, and we can tell Avis, Anakin's dark personality inside of him, hearing this is delighted, as the darker personality wants to fully embrace the dark side. Maul told Anakin that under all that deep, stern, commanding tactician, Anakin is just a sad little boy crying for a father figure. That pissed Anakin off, and Avis came out. Avis flung Maul out of the ship. The body is sucked into space, and the body of Maul exploded into a brilliant blue explosion. Maul died by Avis' rage, and Ventress used this moment to escape. When Anakin returned back, he suddenly felt a huge shame of what he had done. With Maul dead, the next in chain of command for the Separatist military would be General Grievous. Chancellor Palpatine said even though General Grievous is a monster, he is more of an easily controlled prisoner of war, because he doesn't know how to use the Force. With Maul dead, it's actually better that way. On the other side of the ship, Padme took Obi-Wan to Boba Fett. Obi-Wan proposed to the head of the Mandalorian warriors to work for the Republic, and they will be paid twice the amount, and Boba Fett agreed. So Boba Fett took Obi-Wan to the Grievous. While walking down the hall, Obi-Wan recognized Boba Fett and asked how he survived on Geonosis. He told Obi-Wan that he's a clone of the Boba Fett. Turns out, Boba Fett was a top-secret experiment. It was tested for the subject for immortality. They were testing out transferring data and memories from one sentient being to its clone, but no emotions were able to be transferred, which made this Boba Fett different from the old one. Boba Fett used to be a classy assassin. The new Boba Fett doesn't care about high living standards, and accepted himself to be a scummy mercenary. That's why he doesn't mind living with the Hutts. The old Boba Fett had a strong sense of loyalty. When he offered his DNA and training the Camino stormtroopers, he thought those were just local militia, and the pay was considerable. He was actually a Separatist supporter. Now in this new body, he doesn't feel affiliated to any organization. Boba Fett does not know who is the head of the experiment or where the experiment is even affiliated to. He jumped at the chance on having immortality, or in this case, 2 lives. On the other side of the ship, Anakin had an idea to shut down the Separatist army. After discussing with Palpatine a risky idea to cripple the Separatist invading forces, Anakin decided to turn themselves into Grievous. So Anakin and Palpatine were sent to Grievous as well, with much to Obi-Wan's dismay. While being interrogated, Obi-Wan acted as a distraction, being a smartass, while Anakin located the droid-controlled communications relay and overloaded it. This blew up the communications relay, and the invasive CIS droid army had shut down across the galaxy. Half of the CIS army has now been deactivated. With the battle losing, Grievous uses the moment to escape. On the bridge, the Jedi were able to capture a Separatist admiral. The ship crash landed on Alderaan. It knocked Obi-Wan unconscious, and the ship's debris fatally wounded Padme. Anakin took off her helmet and was horrified to see her underneath the Mandalorian helmet. With Padme dying, Anakin tried to use the Force and heal her, but he was unable to. Anakin needed extra power to save Padme, but the only power he could conjure up would be the dark side. Palpatine encouraged him, and Anakin's duality came out instead and healed Padme. The Battle of Alderaan was over. The military had died. Grievous, the second-in-command, had fled. Anakin actually started to enjoy the war for excitement, while Obi-Wan despises it, finding it unnecessary violence. It's the equivalent of cleaning up the politicians' failures. Obi-Wan actually turned suicidal and depressed because of the war. Senator Organa actually led this battle on retaking Alderaan.
General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire.
And he was praised by his tactical military skills. But the planet is in horrible shape. It was in ruins and destruction, and all across the galaxy it was typical to see food lines, because most of the resources were used for stormtroopers to fight the war. This was not just on Alderaan, most of the planets throughout the galaxy as well, including Coruscant, the capital. Civilians are usually seen battered, dirtied, and mangled. It's typical to see Palpatine's hologram giving speeches about hope, how war can set one from this mess, and the sacrifice of a little freedom would liberate them from this hell. It's common to see Jedi volunteers, usually younglings and Padawans, using the Force to fix infrastructures and working food lines. Disgruntled unemployed workers are generally seen complain about Jedi doing everything for free, destroying the Republic's economy rather than hiring locals to rebuild infrastructures. With the Jedi's perfect socialistic ideals, this really messes up with the competitive market. The poor actually gets poorer. On their way back to the capital, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme escorted Chancellor Palpatine. The Mandalorians were paid with suitcases of credits and were pardoned for their crimes. And Padme got to keep her Mandalorian armor for the rest of the movie. She would be participating in the last battle. The night before the awards ceremony, Anakin and Padme spent the night together. Anakin told Padme that he is planning to leave the Jedi Order after he brought balance to the Force, because Jedi are not allowed to marry, as it would lead them to the dark side. That night, Anakin had a dream of losing Padme due to the dark side, and something that Avis had done to her. In the awards ceremony, we see clones, enlisted stormtroopers, and Jedi were awarded with their bravery. There was a surprise announcement. Palpatine exclaimed he never had a child of his own, and had decided to adopt Anakin. Anakin was pleasantly surprised and he agreed. Palpatine gave Anakin a new name, which was voted by the Senate with the title Jedi Lord Darth Vader.
A young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was a pupil of mine until he turned to evil.
He earned it by shutting down every invading battle droid within its control, which is like half the Separatist army, and rescuing Palpatine. Palpatine proposes that Darth was a sacred word that meant in times of darkness, and Vader means father of salvation in ancient Naboo language. I'd like to give a shout out to all these wonderful people who took photos of their awesome collection of Star Wars figures in this video. Check out their accounts on DeviantArt on the links here. They are amazing people. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, favorite, and share this video. Click to view the next part.